Yes, so how do you become a Waldorf teacher? Andrew, Wolfgang, and Sinead have spoken of all these different facets that belong to being a Steiner teacher. And of course, you can't acquire those skills all overnight, those attitudes overnight. Understanding why you do the things you do, you can't acquire overnight. Getting to know the curriculum and then thinking about how you might be able to bring the curriculum alive and how you can integrate other skills and arts into it to bring even more life to it. That is the part of the Steiner teacher. And as Andrew said, it is a healing education. That is a very essential part of this education system. And we all need it, and the children of today need it as much as they needed it in 1919. And what does it take to become a healing educator? A teacher needs to know who they are. A teacher needs to have, one teacher called it a commanding presence, but needs to be very secure in who they are and be their authentic self and be allowed to be their authentic self. And they need to have acquired some knowledge, and they need to know their thoughts, their feelings, and they need to have acquired some skills. Not everything you have to be brilliant at. I will go to that in a moment when we talk a little bit about some of the subjects. All of these things matter enormously, but mostly it matters who you are. So this self-development is a huge aspect of education, because as counselors, we know this, but also as teachers, we know this. 80% of your success is through who you are. You need to be able to engage the children. How do you engage them? Through who you are. So I also have prepared, actually, I didn't prepare, Carmen prepared a slideshow for us, and it is a mini slideshow. We have a much more extensive one. And it is on the website, and I'm sure Carmen will refer you to it later on. So our course is called the Advanced Diploma of Rudolf Steiner Education. And you can ask, who is this course for? Our course is an undergrad course. It is an advanced diploma, and we are lucky, and we have worked hard, that we have managed to have direct entrances into some of the universities. So we have 3 universities who we work with closely: Swinburne, Deakin, and the Catholic University, Australian Catholic University. But you can also take our course credits to any university and see what credits they will give you. So it is a pathway to a Bachelor of Education, a Bachelor of Teaching. Great for if you have chosen teaching as your career. It's also for teachers who are already teachers and would like to really gain a deep knowledge of Steiner education, who really want to understand what it is about. It is also for people who want to make a difference in the world. Many people, or quite a few of our students have also taken this course and then become therapists and in other professions, and have used the knowledge that they have gained in their various professions. Most of them, though, go into the teaching profession. And of course, it is a very meaningful and inspiring new way of thinking about the world, new way of understanding the world. And so that attracts many. on their journey to become a teacher. And it does take 2 years. We divide the 2 years into, you can say, 4 semesters or 8 terms. And we offer this course now online and on campus. So our on-campus students come to the seminar for roughly 8 weeks per term for the 8 terms. And they spend 3 days with us from 9 to 4, and that's on Tuesdays to Thursdays. And we go on 3 days of adventuring through all the different subjects, a lot of anthroposophical insights and why did Steiner think about delivering aspects of the curriculum in the way he suggested, and then it was developed on by the teachers. The online classes are also delivered over 3 days, also in those terms, and they run from Mondays to Wednesdays, and they are shorter days because our online students do come to the seminar 3 times during the 2 years, twice for 8 days, and they are really long days, and once for 10 days. And there we do all the other things that they can't do in the afternoons that we do with our on-campus students. So both groups, both versions have the same hours and have the same content, but it is, of course, delivered slightly differently. And both versions give you the same credit points into the Bachelor of Education or Teaching. And both versions have the same support by the government and all of those things. So how do we structure our 2 years? In the first 2 terms, so that first semester, we spend a lot of time looking at the whys and who we are, understanding the human being and understanding some of the crucial aspects that Rudolf Steiner spoke about, particularly for teachers. So our anthroposophical studies, anthroposophy means the study of the human being. So our anthroposophical studies are all directed to what teachers need. And we work with that particularly in the first 6 months or the first 2 terms. But of course, we don't leave it behind totally after that. It is then, that knowledge is then woven all the time into when we go into curriculum studies. So in those, some of the topics that we cover as a foundation to be able to become a Steiner educator are really thinking about what are the real tasks of education, who do we need to be as educators, understanding Rudolf Steiner's picture of human psychology is a fascinating journey, understanding child development, understanding how child development, of course, doesn't stop when we are children, but our development goes on for the rest of our lives. And how does that look? Personality types are an interesting study. The study of the senses, and in particular, understanding each sense is one thing, but another thing, and the most important thing for us as teachers, is, of course, how do we apply support for those senses so that sensory integration is all the time thought about by the teachers, not only by a specific therapist. Goethean observation is a particular way of coming to know something. And I think it underlies much of what Wolfgang spoke about before, this experiential learning and then coming to a concept almost yourself because you've had these experiences. A very brief expression of that. Inner development, Rudolf Steiner gave many ideas of how we could work on ourselves and develop ourselves, and we explore these. Art history I have put here, although it is also a curriculum topic in some ways, but it also is very interesting to look at, well, how did history develop over the centuries, over the thousands of years? How did it develop, and what does that say about human development? And Rudolf Steiner has a specific way of looking at that, and that is something we investigate. Then, after the first semester, in term 3 of the first year, we begin our curriculum studies in earnest. We actually begin in kindergarten. We talk about early childhood in term 2 as a preliminary preparation. But then from term 3 onwards, we go into the curriculum studies. And the curriculum studies, as you all already outlined, are vast. And there are many subjects. There are academic subjects, there are art subjects, there are professional subjects that we need to cover. And so in term 3, everything is about class 1, the class 1 child, and then after 4 weeks, the class 2 child. And so we focus all the curriculum on class 1 child literacy, mathematics, science, geography, history, when they become relevant, physical education. How do we weave here in Australia Indigenous studies into the entire curriculum? How do we bring music and drama and all the arts? And then in term 4, we focus all on class 3 in term, and so on. We keep on going through the years until we have reached class 8. So we teach from class 1 to class 8 a comprehensive understanding of why you would teach things the way you are teaching them, how you would teach them, what you would teach. We go through them topic by topic. And of course, a lot of that knowledge interweaves. We work with the arts. And we don't work with the arts almost never separately. The arts are integrated into the main learnings at the time. So if you were to, for instance, these little examples here are from a class 5 study, because in class 5, the children learn about ancient India. And so in the sculpture sessions, we then enhance what we've learned about ancient India through sculptural explorations. We have also at times made beautiful elephants, and they all go, they are dressed up and they can have beads on them because ancient India is very colorful and very dynamic, and all the elephants go to Diwali. So you can bring in culture, you can bring in the arts, you can really combine the knowledge. Here's another, apart from sculpture, which is my hobby horse, but painting, drawing, form drawing. Sculpture includes modeling and stonework and woodwork. The handcrafts are a fantastic topic. And when you think about the connection of the hands to brain development, it's an enormous field which we can work with. The poetic arts, speech, drama, music, movement. And of course, we bring a lot of the arts through the social aspect of celebrating the festivals throughout a rhythmical year. Then there are further considerations. It is not only about the curriculum and not only about understanding why. We also need to look at programs and assessment. We need to look at classroom management. We need to look at inclusive teaching. We also take on, I spoke before about Goethean observation. That Goethean observation can become about learning about anything. We can observe a plant and learn about it. We can observe an animal and learn about it. But we can also observe human beings and learn about each other. And as a teacher, we can use a very careful method of observation to focus on the children in our class. We call it a child study, and it is often usually done on an individual child, but it can be applied in other ways as well, and is a very deep way of having, well, it's a meditative aspect that works on the child, but of course it also allows us to see the child hopefully in a new way, in a very present, in the moment way, rather than, we form our impressions very quickly. And a Goethean observation is trying to open us up again to see new. And the teacher's inner development, of course. We also have 3 practical placements in Steiner schools. Our students all go on these practical placements. They spend 40 days in total in a variety of Steiner schools. We usually recommend that they go to different schools and that they go to different year levels. And our students return full of inspiration and full of fire when they return. It is wonderful to hear their reports and what they have learned by being in the classrooms. I don't think there's anything on this slide that is in addition to this. So many of our students say that our course is life-changing. Many of our students find that they have gained a very solid foundation for their teaching abilities. They've had a lot of practice because apart from the practical placements, almost all of our teaching sessions are very engaging and very, we do a lot of role plays where people learn to teach to each other, and the students say how incredibly helpful that is and helps them go out into the classrooms and practice there before they become teachers. So they have plenty of opportunities to develop teaching skills and to become confident before they go out there. Also, at the moment, as all educational systems, they are crying out for teachers. Also, Steiner schools, Waldorf schools are crying out for teachers worldwide, by the way.